A day of conflicting signals. What's China's view?
Yeah, certainly. Now, we've been speaking to officials here in Beijing, and what they've said is that in terms of how they've viewed the comments from President Trump over the weekend and at the G7, that it just informs, again, this argument here in Beijing that this is a president they cannot trust, that he is not reliable. Just to recap, on Friday he said Xi Jinping was an enemy of America, and then about 24 hours later he said we're closer to a trade deal with China than we've ever been. He also, President Trump, said that the Chinese had picked up the phone and said we want to get back to talks, and of course we've had pretty much silence from China on that. They have pointedly refused to confirm that that was the case, and in fact we had a state news editor saying that there was no such call. So again, it feeds into the hardliners who say this is not a president or an administration that you can trust, and that we need the Chinese to continue to prepare for a long, drawn-out trade fight, that we must not give any concessions for the sake of national pride. So what you're looking at now, according to these officials we've been speaking to, is at the very best, China would sign up to a deal which agrees to buy more agricultural purchases, but in terms of reforms of state-owned enterprises and enforcement mechanism, just not going to happen. Also, China would insist on all tariffs being removed. So again, it looks so unlikely now that we're going to get a deal in the near term, at least. And so China is preparing for a no deal, essentially. It is preparing additional stimulus. It's also preparing a blacklist of US companies should it come to that. It should be noted that they are still prepared to negotiate, and we have not yet had a cancellation of the planned talks in Washington in September.
Okay, no deal as of yet. So does that mean that the yuan has no other direction but down?
Well, if you look at August, it looks that way, doesn't it? It's been on a relentless downward trajectory, the yuan. It's on, looking like, potentially, we're looking like the first month on record for the weakest drop, the biggest drop on record for the yuan. We've seen a drop of about 3.9% so far versus the US dollar. That's the biggest drop since January of 1994. And it's also lower against a basket of its peers as well in terms of the CFITS renminbi index. It is close to that 91 level. So yes, it has been under pressure. If you want a couple of calls, Credit Agricole, they say in the near term the yuan is going to fall to 7.3. Bank of America Merrill Lynch, they say it could fall to 7.5 by the end of 2019 as officials here try to offset these additional tariffs. That's a call from Bank of America Merrill Lynch. But as Selena was saying earlier, we have had 5 straight days now where the PBOC has fixed the currency stronger than traders had expected, which suggests that maybe they're getting a little bit concerned about this depreciation of the currency and what it means for potential capital outflows.